We're rolling. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, February 26th, 2019 meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Pearl L. Crawford Memorial Library. And as is our custom, we will open with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For those of you who might be viewing this meeting, you may take note of a new individual who's joined us. Let me introduce Drusilla Carter, who is the new director of the Pearl L. Crawford Memorial Library. Pat and I had the pleasure of introducing Drusilla to the Board of Selectmen last evening. And she's come back again. Second meeting in the week. So thank you. Drusilla, what are you, 6 days in now?
Yes.
Oh.
It'll be a week tomorrow.
A week tomorrow.
We're going to have a
Okay.
party.
A memorable event, no doubt. Well, thank you, and we're pleased and happy to have you with us. And along that line, I'd like to thank all of those who have participated in the process. We had a member of the Friends, we had a member of the staff, we certainly had the involvement of the town administrator, as well as the personnel board. And special distinction perhaps goes to the individual who chaired our search committee, who sits here to my left, Ms. Korch, did an admirable job of keeping us all focused and on task. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
If we may then, let's proceed as far as the agenda is concerned. Having done the welcome, hopefully that was adequate.
I feel very welcomed.
Thank you, you are indeed. All righty, review minutes, meeting minutes, January 17th and 29th. I think first the 17th would be in order. Everyone have a copy, had a chance to refer to those meetings, hopefully?
I just have a couple of minor edits on here.
All righty, and they are?
On Library Director's Report A, second line from the bottom, recommended that Ben Craver schedule. It's just instead of scheduled. And on number 4 at the top, the third line for 1, it should be 12919.
I'm sorry, repeat that one.
It's 12919, not 119.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't back yet.
All right, anyone else note any need for corrections, additions, or changes? No, okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of January 17th as amended.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to accept the meeting minutes as amended for January 17, 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. All right, thank you. And then, moving along, keeping my file straight here. The meeting minutes perhaps for January 29th, 2019. One opportunity to review the minutes rather.
Did you email these to us?
No, I did not.
No,
Okay.
they can't be, if a member of the board takes the minutes, which I did, you can't mail them ahead of time.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you had taken them, so.
Mhm.
Let's take a minute then to look through those. Anyone note any additions, corrections, omissions? No? entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes for Tuesday, January 29th, 2019.
Seconded.
No, I think we
Make
need the
the
motion
motion.
first. Make
I'll
a
make the
motion.
motion.
Motion made and seconded. Thank you. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Monthly library reports. Priscilla's somewhat at a disadvantage in that this is the first time she's been with us, so.
I haven't even been here a month, so
That's
I have a clue what's going on.
Okay. Well, in this case, we'll call them less than monthly library reports. As I understand it, in conversation we've had, you're not entirely familiar with the reports and the formats that we've been seeing in the past, and still need to familiarize
Yep.
yourself with that, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully by next month I'll have gotten that far.
All right, we'll look forward to that then, thank you. Are there any things that you'd like to mention as you see those three items listed: programs, events, FY 2019 budget, facility?
I will say that we've had just my first week was in the middle of school vacation. So we had several programs. Every time I turned around, there were more people coming in the door. And last night we had a very successful ice cream, the history of ice cream, and Friendly's brought products that you can't get yet.
Really?
Yes, they brought, so there are things that you will be able to get in your local store in about March, and everyone who attended got a sample.
Sneak
However,
peeks.
they got a little bit overzealous with how many things they had, and there was an entire case left, so the library staff all got ice cream today.
Nice.
Oh!
So we
That's a nice
really,
bonus.
we really
Now you
like
tell
that
us.
program, and but no, it's been especially with the school break programs, it's been very busy. It's been a
Wow.
lot of fun seeing everyone coming and going.
The selectmen were ready to adjourn last
I
night.
mean, there was
Reconvene
plenty.
at the
We
library.
could have
when
brought
we
some.
found out the basement. But they didn't, they held to their task. Okay, anything further that you?
The only other thing I would say on facility is that there's shelving in the children's area that still needs to be done. The gentleman who is handling that for us was supposed to be here tomorrow, got that call on Monday. However, he now has another building that had major damage from the storm yesterday, and we decided that it was probably better for him to go fix the building that has no heat and needs some repairs. So that shelving is coming.
Okay.
Where he's going to contact me tomorrow to let me know.
So we have a
What
date
the-
at this point?
We don't have a new date at this point because he doesn't know apparently how much damage there is to the other building. But we are on his radar, at least, and he has all the shelving and such ready to go, so.
And I understand that we have houses coming, HOWES by name, they're coming next week, is it?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
It's
Oh, better
7:30.
that,
Yep.
better yet, right, okay, so.
And we've had the security camera people here, it's been a busy week. We've had, the HVAC folks have been to do regular maintenance.
Regular maintenance or
Mhm.
maintenance that was required?
No,
Like
it's,
that
they
you
have
call-
scheduled regular
Oh,
regular maintenance, and they came and took care of that. So they were in and out. So yeah, we've had all sorts of sort of regularly scheduled stuff
You're
happening.
getting to meet everybody right from the start.
I know.
Right.
Right.
Good introduction, good opportunity. to
The poor
introduce.
guy for the HVAC system wanted to know where something was, and I looked at him and said, "I don't know. Let's find out together."
Well, the discovery process can be a good learning experience.
Well, I now know where to find what he was looking for, so
Good,
we're
good. I'm gonna just skip down a bit to number 7, part of facilities, I think, in some ways. Parking lot safety barriers. I don't know whether you've been apprised of the situations we had last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've had this under consideration for some time now, trying to think of some way to set up a barrier between the building and the parking lot in order to avoid the reoccurrence of what happened in the past. And again, very fortunate in both instances there were no injuries, but we know that we're somewhat on borrowed time with regards to that. So don't know whether you've had any experience with this kind of thing, but we were hoping to.
Only in one instance. And on that particular, I've had one facility in the past that was on such a steep slope in the mountains that somebody didn't stop soon enough in the parking lot and ended up on the roof. which was quite interesting, and also, in case you wondered, most roofs don't support
No.
vehicles, did cause some damage. But in that case, we simply put up essentially what you would put up by the side of a highway, sort of
The Jersey
crash.
barrier?
Yeah, essentially.
Guardrail?
Yeah, like a guardrail to put across, which is not the most decorative solution.
No.
I actually saw some ones that I thought were tolerable. But they're singular, like poles. It kind of looks like almost, it reminded me of like an upside down maybe umbrella, because the base was wider. And then
Okay.
it had like a pedestal, like a top. And
Okay.
I didn't think they were that bad. I have a picture of them somewhere. I'd have to look for it again.
And I can reach out, I'm now on the director's email list for CW
good.
Mars, so I can reach out to them,
Good.
Yeah.
and just see if anybody has any.
Plus, I wonder if the
Suggestions?
highway department here, someone has, I thought I heard, was it Greg who said that they may have been looking for something here?
For this building,
Yeah.
yes, I know that
Yeah.
what we have out there isn't gonna stop anything.
Yeah, so, I mean, if we could
It's a
sort of
plastic chain.
tag
Yeah.
on to something
No, I was
that would
sort of
work.
hoping that maybe another library was looking for something that was a
Sure.
little more
Very likely, yeah.
decorative than, just
Yeah.
utilitarian.
That's been the question, well, the two questions we've had. We want something that's aesthetically pleasing,
Yeah, right.
not the Jersey barrier look,
That
if you
does the
would, a
job.
guardrail. And yet something that's going to be effective.
Effective,
Because
yeah.
that's the first consideration, obviously, is to make sure that there's no one harmed in any way. So we'd ask you to continue with that, and maybe next month might have some input in terms of possibilities, and certainly if somebody else has invented the wheel, we're not opposed to taking advantage of that.
I am all for just getting information from someone else that works.
Well, hopefully there's some good thoughts out there that we can get access to. Anything else regards to the facilities budget or any of the other issues that's part of the monthly reports then?
Not as far as I know. Not that's come up in the
Okay.
past week, let's put it that
Alrighty.
way.
Thank you. Staffing going forward.
Richard, I see you said
I'm
you
sorry.
have purchasing guidelines here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I went past that, all right.
I believe the town has a purchasing policy, and the library may too. I will ask, maybe if you do a search on your computer now, if there may be
Mhm.
something for
Okay.
purchasing, but I would guess the town has one, and I believe Karen followed it with, as far as at what point you
Mhm.
need to go out and get 3 bids, and I know she was pretty conscientious about
Thank you. Is there
when
state
she got
guideline
the
as
low
well?
bid.
I would think that, there might be opportunities if we need something for the library and the town may need a similar service or a
Yeah.
product to combine the two and, with
Yeah,
that
be more cost effective.
more cost effective as
Yeah.
opposed to buying a small lot or a small
Right.
quantity.
Mhm.
That's something we might need to consider. Would Mr. Carmignani be a resource on that, I wonder, the town treasurer?
Michelle?
Anyone?
The purchasing,
We don't have a purchasing agent as such, do
Yeah.
we don't.
we? No.
Each department has their own budget.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if there wasn't some coordination at some level so that, again, if two departments were looking for the same thing, they could be a combined purchase and better
Sometimes we do
cost.
that. Yeah,
Please?
we just split the cost.
Right,
Sometimes we do that.
or, just the sheer value of negotiating a better price.
I'll send her over the purchasing policy, I'll send it to you.
All righty, so we'll investigate that a bit further then. I know we had some discussion earlier regards to how some of the purchasing was done out of the library, and maybe with those guidelines, we'll get a better picture of how that does occur. And obviously, as we look at the invoices weekly, and we know there's an awful lot that goes in and out of the building that isn't books. So,
Yeah.
and again, I suspect a lot of folks are not necessarily aware of that, but that is the case. There are a lot of things that we need to keep the building running, and keep the patron service served. All right, any further questions regards to that? Glad you brought that back. was
I
ready to
guess
go right by it.
in regards to purchasing and all that, I know that you sign invoices every week, Richard.
I do.
And my question is,
The way you pointed, it was like an accusation.
No, I'm
Did I get that pen loaded? Okay.
So my question is it only requires your signature now, and maybe, not everybody could get in to sign them, and that's why we changed it recently to
Right.
that. Is there any way, is it really difficult to scan those purchases so that we see? Because I find looking at those, what's being ordered is more beneficial to me than just looking at a line item and an amount.
You wanna see the detail?
I do.
I would suggest this, though.
I do try and go in, but
Right, well, that is an
I'm
option.
saying not for just myself, though. I
No.
think everyone
I
needs to be
understand
more
that that is an
informed.
option, and it
Yeah.
was the decision of the board that we changed that, well, it was proposed, I believe, by Karen, but we did agree with that decision.
Just for
to-
signatures.
To change the signatures.
Right.
But the invoices are available,
Mhm.
they are in the folder, and I don't think they move until Monday. So
Well,
generally,
that's why I'm asking, is it possible for those to be scanned when we get that report?
I think that's just a lot of additional work for.
Yeah, I'm
where we
just
don't have
thinking about
admin.
the amount of time that would
There
take to.
are multiple pages
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
a
some of
number
our,
of those
like
invoices.
Baker and Taylor likes to send you
Right.
10-page invoices, and
Oh.
it'll be
Decided.
4 books, but it'll be a 10-page invoice, and to scan it, I'm just thinking that, that's a lot of time to,
Right.
Okay, just a
But again, as a fallback, they
Yep.
are available, they're
Yep.
in the folder. I may or may not have signed them, but you're more than willing,
Yeah.
more
And if
than,
you do have a question about it, like a past invoice or a line item, we do
Mhm.
have copies
Bring 'em back.
of
Yep.
most of them, so, I can pull those.
Yeah, I used to,
I even know where to
definitely
find
inquire with
those.
Oh, good, all
I
right.
can find those.
Well,
We're good.
fallback Tasha could find them if need be, anyway, all right. Any other questions regards to those invoices then, and the procedure that we now have in place? All right. Staffing going forward, we did have 2 positions that we had utilized while we were waiting to find a director, both Tasha's position and Ben Craver's position. And I believe the job descriptions, as I recall writing them up, indicated that we would continue with those 2 folks in those positions until it was mutually agreed by the new director and the board that their jobs were no longer required at the task, but were
Okay.
covered. I don't know if we've probably 6 days in and have not reached that point
Yeah, we
yet.
are not there
Not
yet.
yet. So,
They've both been wonderful. I will say that they've been, both of them have been excellent about and making sure that I had what information, but trying not to overwhelm me
Okay.
at the same time. But yeah, no, we're not there yet.
all right. Didn't think that they would be at this point. I think we've already covered item 5 in terms of the software house on the road tomorrow,
Yeah.
as opposed to my getting them in next week, and children's room replacement shelving. Town FY18 annual report status.
Well, that is complete. With the help of last year's, or this past year's ARIS report, I got most of my numbers there. Tasha Mann was very helpful in getting me information I did not have from that report. And I completed it last week. I'll send a copy to everyone to take a look at, and you can just give me any feedback. We basically have a format that we follow from year to year, and I did the same.
And have you been able to see that or been involved in that at all? At this point, probably not.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
So I think maybe Tasha could spend some time with Drusilla, or perhaps if you had time, Pat,
With
maybe?
the annual report or
With the report?
The ARIS report?
The ARIS report, and-
There will actually be a Seedway Mars, I think, or MBLC, one or the other program to teach you how to do the reports.
Okay.
And I think figure out the MAR, which is the minimum required appropriation
Mhm, okay.
and that we need for our budget. And so that will be helpful to you.
Mhm.
I know Karen would attend something yearly on that,
Okay,
so yeah, that should be helpful.
all right, so we'll investigate further there. Thank you. We've already discussed the parking lot safety barriers, however they may, that may be resolved. It's still continuing as a thought. I'm gonna move 8 down to the bottom. We're close to the, just before the, number 12, if we can. That frankly is something that I kind of stole from the selectmen. That's something they do in their meetings, so we plagiarizing, I guess, to some extent.
You are borrowing like
Borrowing.
good library patrons.
Thank
That's
you.
what you're doing.
All right. Long-range plan.
I did check with Maura Dede of the board, the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, and she said that our new strategic plan, which would be cover FY '20 to FY '25, is due October 1st. And to be eligible for the LSTA, which are the technical grants, we have to have the annual action plan into them by December 4th of this year, which would allow us to apply for grants in FY '21.
Okay, December 4
It's
of
due-
2019.
Yes.
But
Okay.
it's due October 1st.
No, the
21st.
the 5-year strategic plan is due October 1st. The annual action plan, which is a separate thing.
Oh, okay.
And the annual action plan is essentially taking some items from the strategic plan that are more immediate that you want to
Mhm.
get done in that following year.
And when is
So,
that due?
December 4th.
Okay.
I think we've added to your plate yet again.
Yeah, I know, I noticed, the other day that, there are a number of trainings being offered, on long-range planning,
Mhm.
all within like the next 2 weeks, which I felt was a little soon. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
there
do,
must
they
be
do
what
have
it
some
must be.
help. We did get an email from Robert Favini, who's also Mass Board of Library Commissioners, and I know he did send along, and it may have been, because I know he was copied on my request for information from Laura on links to strategic planning.
Okay.
So I will forward
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Actually, I
I've
forwarded
done
to
the
everyone.
process for other libraries, I usually just have a little bit more time before
Mhm.
I start
Right.
looking at
Mhm.
it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, to be continued again. And number 10, we have MBLC offerings that hopefully everyone's received in the last few weeks, some information from the Mass Library Board regarding a couple of upcoming things that they have have been planned. One of them is a webinar. Actually, it will be tomorrow, the 27th at 1 p.m. If anyone were interested, hopefully you've had the opportunity to register for that. Look like some interesting things there. Among them, tools we need to develop in order to identify, cultivate, and empower our local activists to take action for libraries. And the second was the Massachusetts Library Trustee Institute, which was to be held Saturday the 27th, April 27th, excuse me, 27th, I hung up on that for a bit. April 27th, 2019 in Worcester, convenient location.
Mhm.
Their request, as I recall, was that we limit one trustee per library. That being a Saturday, if anyone were inclined, that's your weekend.
Actually, I didn't realize that, but I did register.
Okay.
Good, we're covered. All
right.
right, we're covered.
Well, they did say, we expect this to be a popular event, requested attendance be limited to one trustee per library.
I guess I
can't go
nominated
now.
myself.
What's that?
I was just kidding.
Just kidding, okay,
Yeah,
all right, so we are
You have
covered.
to
in-
arm wrestle to see who's gonna
We are
go.
covered in that regard, and I'm sure that Pat will bring back
Oh, yeah,
a
Pat
wealth
will
of
have us
valuable
covered.
information to share with us.
Actually, if I could just add on the library advocacy webinars, the one tomorrow at 1 is the intro to advocacy, and there's
Mhm.
another one tomorrow at 4 to 5:30, which is, getting into the meat of it.
Oh, I didn't see that for
Mhm.
some reason. I printed this out and it looked like it only got the first one. Okay, so there are two then.
And then there's the Legislative Day in Boston on March, and I can't read my writing, it's the 3rd or the 5th, I think it's the 5th. And it's the day that,
Tuesday?
yeah, people go to the State House. There's a
Mhm.
bus available to go, and people go to the State House and basically talk to their local representatives.
You need to make, set
to
up
advocate,
appointments.
yeah, to advocate for library funding in Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's probably somewhat similar to the legislative breakfast that we had in Webster a few
Mhm.
weeks back. And Representative Durant had his office hours in this building again a couple of weeks ago, I believe. So
Mhm.
there's opportunities to meet with your local representatives and state senators apart from that formal occasion that you mentioned in
Mhm.
Boston. So we're going to keep that in mind. And
We should invite them to the library.
we could invite them to the library, it's true. And my experience has been with the office hours, they're not that well attended, so
Mhm.
you can usually get here pretty easily
Mhm.
if you wanted to stop in. And those are usually posted out here on the bulletin board, as I
I put
believe.
them on the web.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Great.
And I think they're on their websites as
It's
well.
always on a Tuesday, mid-afternoon.
I'm sorry?
It's always on a Tuesday.
Alternate
mid-afternoon.
Tuesday mid-afternoon,
Mhm.
okay.
Not the best time.
And open to the public, open to, I guess you don't have to even be a registered voter, I don't believe. I've never been challenged on that. They just walk in. All right.
Oh, they wanna know you're a constituent.
Well, they,
Sure.
They
vote.
wanna, yeah, they wanna know.
the registered voters or potential voters, I'm sure, potential registered voters, I'm sure are welcome, yes.
Mhm.
All righty. So upcoming, a number of events that Mass Board of Library Commissioners has on the plate and things that we may find helpful and informative. Thank you. Moving on to number 11, we have an election upcoming, and there will, safe to say, be some changes on the board. We have 2 seats that will be available for a full 3-year term. That's Pat, who's an incumbent, and hopefully running again. I will not be running. And we have your seat, which is, I believe, a 1-year, non-expired term.
I was gonna run this time.
You were going to run. You are going to run.
Nice.
Okay, all right, so.
I'm gonna go
we-
for it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Okay.
And if
That's
not,
right.
I'll just come back to see if I can get appointed if I don't.
I
There
don't
has
know.
to, there has to be an opening.
Well, if there is, you know, I
Yeah.
don't know. We'll see what happens, you know?
I don't know that there'll be any, they're usually not very hotly contested,
Yeah.
honestly. The selectmen were kind of bemoaning the fact that they were, last evening, that they're looking for people to run for some of the various boards and commissions in town.
So you'll have to talk to the town clerk about deadlines and
March 4th
signatures.
is the nomination
Yeah,
papers.
I already got the
Oh.
information.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, change is coming and moving forward there. Going back a bit then, what I've stolen from the Board of Selectmen, it seems that I do a lot of talking here.
You're
I
our
confess,
fearless-
I
You're our
confess.
fearless leader.
No, I'm a maybe fearless talker, but there's hopefully some things that may not have perhaps hit the agenda, or some thought that you might want to reflect on in terms of an agenda item or something in a previous meeting or going forward. Obviously now with the new director in place, we're kind of hitting the ground and starting things up again to some extent. I mean, we were, truthfully, I think it's something of a holding pattern for a while, and now it's time to kind of get the engine moving. So if anyone has any comments, I would ask now for you to let us know what your thoughts are, and maybe with Drusilla here, if you haven't had a chance to stop in and see her at the library, if you had some comments or thoughts you wanted to share with her, please, open forum.
Nope.
Harrison? No? And you don't even tell us what donut that is.
Sharing.
Joyce, anything?
Welcome.
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 Okay, well, that's always good. Oh, wow. Is that on camera?
Yeah, it's my dinner.
Yes.
Dinner, oh my.
If ever you're looking to get in touch with the community, Dippin' Donuts is probably where you find a good number of residents at any given, especially on the weekends. But don't park, I would advise not parking in front of the building.
Oh,
That could be
really?
really
Crazy.
challenging,
Yeah.
getting in and out of there.
You could park in the old library lot.
They have
I
great.
do that
That's,
all the
there's
time.
a donut place
I've
right
never
near where I
been there.
live, but the parking lot is really just the shoulder of the road, and people pull in nose
Oh.
first, and then just back out into oncoming traffic, so you know on Saturday and Sunday, you just go the long way around.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
that might be advisable there as well. Not that- I
Do
hope
we
that was.
know if the Friends will be having a gathering or anything in
Yes,
honor of
they will,
Drusilla?
they will be in touch with you, Drusilla, just to determine.
There was a delegation arrived in my office and brought me a plant.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
So
Yeah.
they joined my cacti on the windowsills,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
but
someone
it
will
was-
be in touch with you regarding a welcoming reception.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly when, I just said to make sure, you know, they'll look at the calendar and see if
Mhm.
there are programs. and-
Yep.
Now you're obligated to see that plant flourishes.
Yeah.
Well, I have a bit of a plant problem, which is
Oh,
that I
no.
tend to acquire more than I really need. So it should do okay. And if not, I'm blaming the library that, you know, the building is just not.
Succulents are good. Succulents are good, yes. Require very little care.
All right, so that little bit of animal husbandry there. Anything else there, Pat?
Yes, I would once again like to thank the staff for the job that they did in the three and a half months that they were working without a library director. They really pulled together and proved what teamwork can do, and you know, we're really appreciative. And I drafted a letter, if you'd like to sign it. Richard has it.
Yes. Pass that along.
Pass it around.
There tends to be piles. I apologize for that.
That would go to the staff from the trustees, just thanking you.
And I, in part, would like to echo what Pat just said, and also mention that it did take a village,
Yeah, certainly.
to paraphrase. A number of folks involved in the process. We had a number of meetings, many of them on short notice, and we're very, very appreciative. You know, we very much appreciate the fact that people were able to respond and participate, and willingly, I might add. It was an interesting experience. I definitely found out a lot that I didn't know, and the number of questions that came up.
I was gonna say, I think I'll get a copy.
You are gonna get a copy of it,
With,
yes.
kind of somewhat surprising, but it is a process, and it is somewhat involved. But we've completed it, and as I said, we're ready for a new start. Stephanie?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Just, it sounds like you had a pretty crazy week, and sounds like
very
you
exciting.
handled it very well.
In case anyone wondered, I can turn off the alarms when the power comes back on. I now know how to do that.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing to
See, we
know.
did it on purpose, so.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
right.
been a
Catching
very
up to speed.
educational week.
Yeah.
And I can
Catching up to
also,
speed.
I can also check books in and out.
Oh!
You know, gotten that
Perfect.
far.
Excellent.
Don't ask me to put a hold on anything yet. Check books in and out.
All right. Anyone else? Any questions, comments? All right. At this point, it would probably be appropriate for a motion to adjourn.
There's also an action for next meeting.
Next meeting, I'm sorry. Thank you. Next meeting is noted March 26th, 2019. And I don't think we'll have a need for any others between now and then.
I don't
Which
think
would
so.
be a little bit of a
That would
break.
be
you know.
great, yeah.
All right.
And make a motion to adjourn?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's always unanimous.